Leave the here and now behind and come along on a fascinating journey through time. Breathe in the enchanting history.
German nationalism developed gradually. In the early 1800s, Romantic writers spoke of a unique German national character shaped by ancient traditions. Philosophers and poets promoted the idea of a German nation.
The early calls to nationhood came mostly from students and intellectuals. Their effort to unite Germany filtered in the face of modernist conservative ideas. In the mid-1800s, however, an aggressive leader named Otto von Bismarck imposed a Prussian brand of nationhood of all of Germany. In the early 1800s, German-speaking people lived in a host of small and medium-sized states, as well as in Prussia and Austria-Habsburg Empire. Napoleon's invasions unleashed new forces in these territories.
Between 1807 and 1812, Napoleon made important territorial changes in German-speaking lands. He added lands along the Rhine River to France and dissolved the Holy Roman Empire. He also organized a number of German states into a French-controlled Rhine Confederation. In the beginning, some Germans welcomed the French emperor, but later things changed. He encouraged freeing of serfs, made trade easier, and abolished laws against Jews.
During the same time, Napoleon's conquest sparked German nationalism. People who fought to free their lands from French rule began to demand a new, unified German state. At the Congress of Vienna, Metternich opposed nationalist demands. He pointed out that a united Germany would require dismantling over many separate German states. So instead, the peacemakers created a German confederation.
In 1830, Prussia took the lead in creating an economic union called the Zollverein. This economic union dismantled tariff barriers between the German states, though Germany still remained politically fragmented.
In 1848, liberals met at the Frankfurt Assembly, again to demand for German political unity. They offered the throne to King Frederick William IV of Prussia, although he rejected because the throne was offered by the people. Otto von Bismarck succeeded where others failed. He came from Prussia's Junker class, which is made of conservative land-owning nobles. Bismarck served Prussia as a diplomat in Russia and France before King William I made him chancellor and his prime minister in 1862.
In a decade, the new chancellor had used his policy of blood and iron to unite German states under a Prussian rule. Bismarck's success was due to a strong part in his ability to manipulate others. He was a master of realpolitik, or realistic politics, based on a tough evaluation of the needs of the state. Though Bismarck wasn't really a German nationalist, his primary loyalty was to the Hohenzollerners, the ruling dynasty of Prussia.
In Bismarck's view, power was more important than principles such as liberalism.
Bismarck is going to give a speech in which he declares Prussia needs to build up its forces based on blood and iron, essentially warfare and industrializing the country. And so his first move is to build up the Prussian army. Only problem is the legislature in Prussia won't pay for this, so he uses money that was supposed to go to other places to build up the Prussian army. And he wants to pursue what we would call an aggressive foreign policy, meaning he is going to start a few wars. in order to expand the German Empire. These wars are going to be with Denmark first, then Austria, and then France.
Bismarck's first maneuver was to form an alliance in 1864 with Austria. They then moved to seize the provinces of Schleswig and Holstein from Denmark. After a brief war, Prussia and Austria liberated the two provinces. In 1866, Bismarck invented an excuse to attack Austria. The Austro-Prussian War lasted just 7 weeks and ended in a decisive Prussian victory. Prussia then annexed not only Holstein, but also other German states to their map. Bismarck dissolved the Austrian-led German Confederation and created a new North German Confederation dominated by Prussia. But the master of realpolitik did not enforce harsh terms of peace. Instead, he allowed Austria and 4 other southern German states to be independent.
The Franco-Prussian War. The Prussian victory got Napoleon III worried in France. A growing rivalry between both caused the War of 1870, the Franco-Prussian War. The cause was the struggle over the vacant Spanish throne. When a Prussian king was offered the throne, France got mad. They were scared Prussian influence was going to spread through the southern borders. Bismarck seized the situation. The rally. All Germans were against Napoleon. Bismarck played up the image of Frenchmen to spur Germany's nationalism.
Bismarck helped the crisis along by rewriting and then releasing to the press a telegram that reported on a meeting between King William I and the French ambassador. Bismarck's editing of the Ems dispatch made it seem that William I had insulted the Frenchman. Furious, Napoleon III declared war on Prussia, as Bismarck hoped. Cries of "On to Berlin" filled the streets of Paris. The fighting, however, quickly proved otherwise. A superior Prussian force, helped by troops from other German states, smashed the badly organized and poorly supplied French soldiers. Napoleon III, old and sick, suffered after a few weeks of fighting. France had to accept a humiliating peace. The French defeat led to a downfall of the Second Empire.
The German Empire. Happy by the victory over France, the princes from the southern parts of Germany and northern parts of Germany Confederation pursued William I of Prussia to be the emperor. In January 1871, German nationalists celebrated birth of the Second Empire, the Second Reich.
They called it the Second Reich because they considered it heir to the Holy Roman Empire, which was founded by King Otto the Great in the 1900s and was abolished by Napoleon in 1806. The newly united Germany soon had a leading role in Europe. A constitution drafted by Bismarck set up a 2-house legislature for the Second Reich. The Bundesrat was appointed by the rulers of the German states. The lower class, called the Reichstag, was elected by universal male suffrage. The new German nation was far from democratic, since the upper class could vote any decisions of the lower class.
Be a witness to eras of splendor. Germany breathes history. And which century of German history will you visit next?